4.3 million followers on Instagram. So how do you get this successful?
I mostly call it a compound effect because this didn't come overnight for me. I started 7 years ago, which is quite a long time when you're very young. So I started when I was 16 and now I'm 23. And basically I was posting not every single day, but like almost every single day. And it's not about posting once and getting 4 million followers overnight. It's about starting something and then you start with one fitness video and suddenly you have like 90 million views on the fitness videos on YouTube or something. It's only about starting and then sticking to it very long term, because I was sticking to it like 7 years, and then over time you start to have a lot of followers, but it's not something that you can expect just from starting it once and never continuing with it.
So you can say you're very famous, but I think not everyone is pleased with what you're doing. Some say you just post pictures and do some workout and you wrote a book, but that's not really a talent. What would you say to such statements?
I can actually totally understand, because like nice pictures is everything you see when you look at it once. But I think people are most of the times critical if they don't understand or if they don't try to understand, and then they like face you with negativity. I've actually never really heard somebody saying something super negative if they actually know what I do and know how much work I put into it, because if I mean, first of all, like taking pictures and videos is time consuming, but then again, all the work that is behind, like not having a management, doing everything yourself, doing all the emails yourself, actually designing the collections, not just putting your name on it, or testing food products in your own kitchen until you think they are perfect and then put your name on it and put them in the supermarket. That's all something that is time consuming and is something that is behind those pictures that nobody really sees at first. So I understand if you judge, but I also encourage people to try to understand afterwards.
I guess you just mentioned an important thing. You told us that you just did it by yourself. Or you're still doing it by yourself. So what are you doing by yourself? Everything? Like you have no management, right?
Yeah, I used to have a management, but now I don't anymore, just because I saw that everything that I do is so personal, which is maybe also not the most time efficient thing to do everything by yourself. But in the end, everything is like revolves around me as a person, and my community looks at me, and everything that I post should be exactly what I want. So I think it wouldn't be very beneficial to have a lot of people in between. And also, if I put something out there under my name, I have the feeling that it has to come from me so I can promote it like with a good conscience. And that's why I do everything by myself again. And at the moment, it's a very good way for me to do it, because also the long-term partners, like no matter who I do campaigns with, like Puma, for example, they also want to talk with me because I know my audience and I communicate with my community. And that's why I know what they want and what will convert well, which campaign. And most of the times, people who are not exactly in the business and are not communicating with the followers, how should they know what will work? And that's also why I kind of took over the task to actually tell companies what will work in the social media business, because most of them are not in our age group, and then they actually don't know what will work.
So what is the age group you're talking to at your account?
Yeah, that's also a funny question, because we had the interview before and you were quite surprised about the main age group. It's not that young. It's between 18 and 35. And then only, I think, 7 or 8% is under 18. So I'm talking to pretty young people, but not super young. It's not teenagers, but it's more like, yeah, between 18 and 35, like the grown-ups.
Also, the country differ. It's not only Germany, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the amazing thing about social media also, in my opinion, that nothing is really... nothing is limited, because you don't see borders on social media. Everybody can post what they want and they can show it to the entire world. So I only have 20% in Germany, and then also Switzerland and Austria is quite strong, and then it's 10% America, Brazil, Italy, France. It's so spread just because social media has no borders, which is the beautiful thing about it.
I just want to go back to my first question. When we announced that you are going to be here today, we just received a comment. You see it over there. There was this guy who just said she just posted a picture, and basically she just post a picture and do some workout videos, and her book is not really interesting. So what do you think about this? Is it like, okay, it doesn't matter because you don't know me, or what?
Yeah, I kind of have to say, like, I'm a very, I think I have a very stable mindset, and I think, like, I'm not super emotional, going up and down with my emotions all the time. So I read it, and I kind of understand it, because, of course, he maybe wants to see, like, a finance girl, like, running her business against all men, but that's not what I do. But because I don't have like a proper talent like singing or acting. Not something that you can really tell right away. I'm kind of like more have a mixture of talents that I managed to put into a business by discipline and motivation and sticking to it. And that's also kind of a talent. Like, you don't have to have one extraordinary one. You can combine all your talents, and then if you have maybe a very good mindset, or if you have a good character on top, that's what makes you successful. And I kind of think it's, why is he even putting like the time effort into writing this comment if he doesn't really know me? Because, as I said, most people who actually know what I do don't say something like that anymore.
So you said an important thing, that he does not know you, but the people who knows you know that you're not only on Instagram, but you have other projects. Maybe you can tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, as I said before, for example, if you're launching a food product and you put it like on the market with your name, I kind of thought it's self-explanatory that you stand in your kitchen and you cook it until you think it's perfect, and then you send it to a factory saying like, I did this and that, and then can you please produce it that way? And I did it exactly like that. And then the factory was like, you actually cooked it in your home and sent it to us? That never happened to us before. And they were like producing for big names of companies. And I was like, what? And then they said, yeah, most of the times we get like an idea. For example, we wanna like produce a chocolate bar with those and those ingredients. Maybe can you please give us a proposal? But nobody actually cooks it at home and sends them the stuff. And to me, that's like everything I do it myself, and then I try to make it bigger with the help of others, or like designing collections with Puma. I kind of have my own like ideas what I want to do, and then I sit together with a design team, and then we put it into a collection, and they help me produce a Pamela Puma collection. But the things that I do are more like a model job. I don't know, like German people in here will have probably seen me on billboards last fall for Calcedonia, which was like on every billboard, like on every intersection. That's pretty cool for me, because that just gives me visibility, which is like a crazy amount that I wouldn't reach myself. Yeah, so I do quite a lot of stuff, like the fitness videos. Oh, I wrote a cookbook. I didn't talk about that yet. And also for the cookbook, I took all the pictures myself. I cooked everything myself. I didn't have like a food stylist or a cook with me. And most people say like, yeah, but you need that if you write a cookbook. Like, it has to be super professional. And I didn't learn any of the stuff that I do in my life. But I feel like with the necessary experience that you can make up yourself, and you can just try until you think it's perfect. And sometimes that's enough. Sometimes you don't need to actually learn something in a school if it's not like a job that you actually need to learn for. And my job is not something that you can study in a university. It's only like experience that you make yourself. And then if you think it's good enough, you can put it out there to the world. So yeah, I'm actually kind of like, back then, I always thought it's something, like it's not good enough to say like, okay, I'm writing a cookbook, yeah, but I'm not an author. But right now, I'm kind of proud of it, that you can do so much stuff nowadays without actually like without actually being the profession. Or I do my makeup myself for all the billboards. And back then I was always thinking, oh, I cannot do my makeup myself. They have like makeup stylists for that like they learned the job. And they had such a hard time making me look like I always look like, because the companies want me to look like Pamela on the billboards, because they want people to recognize me. And then I started thinking, why don't I do the makeup by myself if they want me to look like how I always look? And since then, I always do the makeup myself. It's just like the little things that you have to rely on, that actually your job is good enough. And probably there's somebody else in the world who will do it better than you. There's always somebody else, but maybe they don't have like the package and they're not in your situation. So you have the right to do it yourself sometimes.
So do you see yourself as a role model?
I always get asked that question because, of course, like a lot of people follow me and they kind of can. I see it more like they can pick and choose what they want to be inspired of. I don't want people to be like Pamela. I don't think people need to do sports all the time and cook healthy food all the time and be sustainable and blah blah. They can just like see what is inspiring to them and then take that and put it into their own lives and like see if they kind of can incorporate that in like their own story. That's more what I want to convey on my Instagram account.